Jamie Dornan is known as the perfect man, a gentle smile, warm eyes, a calm and elegant demeanor. On screen, he is a symbol of charm and mystery. In real life, he is an exemplary husband and a caring father. But recently, in a rare conversation, Jamie silenced the world when he admitted, "I'm not as strong as people think. I'm just good at hiding it." No one expected that behind that calm demeanor was a silent and long-lasting battle for many years. The battle with the fear of being hurt, the haunting past, and the pressure to be perfect all the time. "I used to think that if I let anyone see me weak, I would lose everything." Jamie says that for more than 10 years, he has lived with the feeling of having to maintain his image. Always smiling in front of the camera. Always calm when criticized. Always strong even when his heart is heavy. "No one taught me how to face the hurt. I just learned to keep it deep inside." There were nights when he stayed up all night, sitting alone in the dark, not because he couldn't sleep, but because he didn't know how to breathe properly. Amidst the glory and applause, sometimes he felt completely alone. The breaking point, when he was forced to face himself. Jamie admits that what changed him was not fame, not career, but a very small moment. "I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man standing in front of me. That's when he understood. Perfection doesn't save me, the truth does." He began to allow himself to admit he was weak. Admit he was scared. Admit he needed saving like everyone else. "If you see me as strong, it's because I was weak." Jamie's message left fans speechless. We don't have to be perfect to be loved. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is allow ourselves to be real. When a smile is no longer enough to hide. Jamie said that, during the most successful years of his career, that was also the time when he felt himself falling silently. People saw him on the red carpet, radiant, confident, attractive. But only he knew, after getting into the car, closing the door, a cold emptiness was waiting inside. "I thought I was living my dream. But it turns out, sometimes I was just running away. Running away from the feeling. Not good enough. Not worthy. Not allowed to make mistakes." A smile in public is sometimes just a thin coat covering a heart that is slowly cracking. The moment that changed everything. One day, after finishing a long schedule, Jamie returned home late. The house was quiet, except for the ticking of the clock. He sat down on the chair, took off his shoes, and suddenly burst into tears. For no apparent reason. No one was there to see. No screams. Just tears falling, soft, slow, but heavier than any words. "I realized I was tired. So tired that I didn't know what I was trying for." It wasn't a collapse. It was a release. Because sometimes, to stand strong, you have to let yourself fall first. And then, he began to learn to breathe again. Jamie began his healing journey with small things. Walking every morning without his phone. Turn off the spotlight in his mind, even if only for a few minutes. Allowing himself to be imperfect. He practiced saying things he had kept hidden. "I'm sad today. I'm scared today. I'm not okay today." Those sentences seem simple, but for someone who has always had to be strong, they are the most courageous steps. "I don't want anyone to think I'm an icon. I'm just a person." Jamie looked straight into the camera and said it softly but firmly. And in that moment, he was the most beautiful. Not because of his appearance, but because he was. Silence has a sound too. Jamie says the scariest thing is not the criticism or the expectations from the public. The scariest thing is the silence. Silence after the lights go out. Silence after the laughter ends. Silence when everyone leaves and he is alone. In that silence, the thoughts he once avoided, buried deep, gradually surfaced. Am I really living? Who am I trying to please? If everything disappears tomorrow, what will I have left? And he realized, he had let his life be controlled by the fear of losing his perfect image. The truth he was afraid to face. Jamie confesses that there were years when he was not happy. Not because he lacked anything. He had a family. He had a career. He had the aura that many people dream of. But his heart felt empty. You can stand among millions of people and still feel lonely. Alone, not because of not having anyone by your side, but because of not daring to let anyone touch your pain. Relearning to feel. Healing doesn't come in a flash. It comes from small, persistent, quiet changes. Sit still for 5 minutes and just let yourself breathe. Allow yourself to be okay without guilt. Stop trying to be what others expect. And most importantly, he learned to listen to his heart for the first time in years. I realized, if I'm not with myself, no one will ever be with me. From then on, he began to slow down. Not live less, but to live more authentically. Laugh when happy. Cry when sad. And be silent when the soul needs rest. No more rushing to run away from emotions. No more using halo to hide fear. Because perfection does not make people beautiful. Authenticity does. When the heart begins to speak. One morning, Jamie woke up without an alarm clock, without a schedule running through the minutes. The sunlight wasn't bright, just a thin, whispering strip of light touching the wall. And for the first time in years, he didn't rush to get up. He lay there, listening to his heartbeat. Slow. Even. Calm. No more noise outside, no more roles to play. And in that moment, he realized he was still here. I thought I'd lost myself. But it turns out, I just forgot to listen. It's hard to be honest with yourself. Jamie says the hardest thing isn't facing the world. It's looking at yourself without running away. For years, he lived like a soldier in battle. Always raising his shield. Always on guard. Always ready to defend. But that war was not against the world. It was against the fear in his own heart. The fear of not being loved if he was not perfect. The fear of being abandoned if he showed weakness. The fear of not being worthy of his own life. But then he understood. No one loves a statue. People love a person. When you stop, you hear yourself. Jamie begins to spend time on the little things he once forgot. Reading a book not for the sake of polishing the image, but for the sake of immersing himself in another world. Listening to music to feel, not to fill the void in his mind. Going for a walk without a specific destination. Watching the sky change color without filming or taking pictures. Those seemingly ordinary things are what keep him with himself. Then he smiles, for the first time without acting. Not the sharp smile on the red carpet. Not the polite smile for the press. Not the familiar smile of the perfect man. But a gentle and soft smile, coming from the deepest part of his chest. The smile of someone who has survived the storm and is grateful that he still has the sky. I am learning to slow down, to live authentically. And I think, I am starting to like myself again. There are no big wins. There are only small changes. Jamie realized. Healing is not like in the movies. There is no climactic moment where everything clicks and everything is suddenly okay. Healing is repetition. One small thing. One kind thought. One breath taken in and out. The first day, he could only stay calm for 5 minutes. The next day, it was 7 minutes. Then 10 minutes. Then one day, he stopped counting. I started learning to be present in the moment. Not running away from it. Realizing that he had the right to be vulnerable. He says that for a long time, he believed. As a man, as a successful person, as a public figure, I am not allowed to fall. But now, he knows. Being strong isn't about never being afraid. Being strong is about knowing you're afraid and still going. Being strong is about admitting you need to be held, to be heard, to be believed. No one can stand strong forever if their heart isn't at rest. Not even someone as perfect as him. Love begins with yourself. Jamie doesn't change to surprise anyone. Not to speak up for attention. Not to tell this story for pity. He's telling it to those who are going through the same thing know they're not alone. Those who are smiling, but hurting inside, know they have the right to be vulnerable. He himself stopped fighting himself. If I didn't love myself, every light shining on me would only make me more blinded. And then, he stopped in front of the mirror, again. Not to fix his hair. Not to test his charisma. Not to see if he was still perfect. But to take a long look. Looking at the man in the mirror, the man who had stumbled, who had lost his way, who was tired, but who had not given up. And he whispered, for the first time without acting, I am proud of you. Not because of success. Not because of fame. But because he was still trying honestly every day.